Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Yo, okay, let me cut off the volume here. How's it going, guys? I have 4 people live on my.
Look at that, man.
So the plan is we're doing a podcast right now. Me and Karvin from Clear Media. We're gonna talk about videography, and we are recording on the side for like a full video. So hopefully the plan is to go live for a couple of minutes, or maybe like 10 to 15 minutes, and then continue the podcast.
I'm
Hey,
mostly just paranoid about audio. Like usually I
Yeah.
don't I don't give a shit. Like I don't care at all. But like I know this is your thing, so I know
Yeah.
how important audio is to you. Let me show you my setup. Hold on. Can you see this? So I have so this is supposed to be a really simple interview. Like one camera.
So the guys who just joined in on a live session, we're gonna talk about like freelancing photography, and how like Karvin has his own production house. I do a little bit of freelance on the side. So Karvin, so we're getting to the official, podcast-ish questions.
Official podcast. Huh? Okay, cool. Like the
So,
formal section
yeah,
of this
the
very
formal
unstructured,
segment.
informal
Exactly.
interview. Yeah, I'm ready for it. I'm ready.
Okay, so
Yeah,
so the one of the main reasons I wanted to get you on the podcast is you and I started, somewhere in the same lines. I started learning, or I wanted to become an engineer, so I went to engineering school. You did the same. You graduated. I dropped out after my first year, and my dad is listening. He's probably like really annoyed right now, but I dropped out,
Yeah.
and you kept going, and now we're both very heavily into content creation and making videos and stuff. Like, how did that start for you? Like, how did you decide that, okay, you know what, engineering is good, but this is what I really want to do? What was the story there?
Yeah, man, that's no, for me it's been like a really complex journey of sort of like a lot of pivots, and I still feel like I don't really know if this is like the final destination, because I feel like so many times I told myself this is the final destination, like this is what I want to do, this is what I'm going to do for like the next 20 years.
Right.
And eventually after 2-3 years of doing it, I end up sort of making a pivot. Luckily, most of the pivots have been sort of self-reinforcing, right? So a lot of the things that I learned in like whatever I was doing before usually help the next thing. So that's good. Even though they've been sort of drastic pivots, it's sort of been like building blocks. I'm a big believer that there is sort of like no time wasted when it comes to these things, right? When it comes to like the doing of things. As long as you just sort of keep doing things, everything accumulates in terms of skill, in terms of knowledge. So just like you mentioned, man, I started in engineering. Even before engineering, I was super involved with music, more on sort of like an informal level. I was just really passionate about music. I thought music sort of had the ability to sort of transcend all these boundaries. And make an impact, right? So I'm really big on this making an impact and touching a lot of people. And I think I still believe music has a really unique way of doing them, and just like transcending all these barriers. And then I got into it, and then it turned out I was actually more interested in sort of the mechanics of music, like the making of instruments, the making of sort of recording, and all of the so the technicalities behind music, which is actually not the things that musicians themselves are interested in, right? Usually. So I got into that, and in a lot of ways that was super distracting for my quote unquote musical career. So that never became a thing, man. That never manifested, even though I spent quite a bit of time actually like playing music, learning about music, and the likes of. That never became a main thing. As time progressed, I sort of did O-levels, A-levels, and then it came like you come to this like pivotal junction, right, where you have to make this like massive decision based on literally like no evidence, right? Like you have no information other than what you maybe picked up from your friends and things your parents have told you to do. And based on that, I mean, it seemed sort of logical to go into engineering. I was super passionate about technology and building things, actually. Leave alone technology, I was super passionate about building things. Like whatever those things were, I would love to break things down and build them up. And I went into engineering, man. Like I have a real love-hate relationship with engineering. I think a lot of the like things that I learned, a lot of the things that made me who I am today is because of engineering. But at the same time, I was just aggressively not passionate about certain elements of engineering. And I think that's true with a lot of things, man. But like, I think when you're really passionate about something, you almost don't mind doing the things that that aren't that engaging or that interesting, because you are so driven by these other things, right? These things, like these, you're so driven by the things you're passionate about that it doesn't matter that you have to do all these mundane things. So that was engineering. So I did that for a while. Then I made a lot of sort of minor pivots in terms of like different kinds of engineering. I think I was like initially interested in mechanical, then I went to electrical engineering, and then eventually became a business analyst. Sorry, I think my mic got muted. But I became a business analyst here in Sri Lanka once I moved back.
Oh wow!
I really enjoyed doing that, man.
So how many years ago? Like when did you move back to Sri Lanka? Like
that was shit. That's a good question. 3 years ago now, 3.5 years ago.
Right.
I would say, yeah.
Okay, and then you.
So that's when I moved back.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I went straight into like IT technology, and I did that for quite a while. And what was crazy was when it came to engineering in the real world, I built a passion for it again, because again it was more sort of the building of things and the making of things. So I was super happy,
right?
Which is crazy, right? Like I mean, a lot of stories are either people are mundanely comfortable with their day-to-day lives, like that it's fine, or they're aggressively not comfortable and they make this like aggressive switch, right? And I think neither were true with me. Like I was happy doing that. I was quite driven, and I did like my day-to-day. It's just that I found something that I was even more passionate about. I was just like so in love with sort of photography and videography, and that sort of happened very differently, right? I think for me, I started sort of doing it on the back end. I think I was.
Right.
So, it's not clear, because I think I've forgotten, man, after all these years why I started, but I think it was because of sort of web development. I was like really into web development, and back in the day, you didn't really have like stock sites and stuff. Right now, if you want a website, you can pick a template, and that would come with a bunch of pictures, and you can go like Unsplash or something and pick out those pictures. But back in the day, if you made a website, you had to sort of go and create that content. Like the support material was on you, right? And I noticed immediately when I started building these websites that to build a good website, it wasn't about your ability to craft this thing, but your ability to visually represent all your ideas, right? And a big part of that being sort of photography. So I started photography, then became like a bigger and bigger thing, more important in my life, and then eventually it switched to video, man. Like eventually I forgot about websites. I never did. I built websites after that. And then I got into video, and then I learned everything I know today on YouTube. I was just spending so much time on YouTube, just trying to figure out how to do all these things. Similar to you, right? So your journey is also similar. That's why I actually want to sort of dive into that, because I know the gist of your journey. Like I know how you started and the things you learned.
Right.
It'd be awesome to dive into sort of your story as well.
I mean, same. It's the exact same story in the sense where I got into engineering because my mom was an engineer, and then I thought, okay, that was a vibe.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so my mom is an engineer, my dad is a businessman. So for Sri Lankan Asian kids, I'm sure you would know it's either doctor, engineer, lawyer, or businessman, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So I thought, okay, engineering was, because I was okay at maths. I love doing mathematics and, like going to all the math-oriented subjects like physics, applied maths and higher maths and all of that. So the logical thing was engineering. So I started engineering. And then I realized that, I can't stay up till like 12 in the night studying engineering or doing like stuff related to that. I can stay up till 1-2 o'clock in the morning doing music. And then that's what I figured out, okay, this is something that I can do. I would do for a living, even if it didn't make me a lot of money, I'd still enjoy doing it, right? So just like you, because okay, I'm a musician, I'm trying to do engineering. What's the next feasible solution is to get into learning the mechanics of recording music, like sound engineering. And that's I started doing recording music at home and started realizing.
I think one of the big differences is that you got into music almost more aggressively than I did, right? You became really good at it. Like you became really good at playing lead guitar. I remember sort of you were maybe like 2-3 years ahead of my sort of journey as a musician, right? And you were really into sort of metal and lead, and at that point, I don't know if that's changed. Is that still...
So thing is like back then when I was studying engineering, I was okay. Now I'm gonna learn engineering, and at the same time I'm gonna be like a professional musician. I wanted to be a professional musician. That was the end goal, right. And my backup would be this engineering thing. But then I realized that you can't have engineering as a backup, right? Because it requires so much like attention. You have to do your studies well, and you have to be at it like 24/7. So then I decided to drop it, which created a lot of controversy in my family. I had to go see counseling. I had to make a 20-minute presentation to my dad as telling me why I'm going to switch from why I'm going to switch from engineering to business, because business is like, okay, you know what, you need to have a instinct, and you have to memorize stuff, so you can pass a business degree if you just pay attention, right? So I was like, okay, you know what, I'm going to do business. I convinced my parents and I started it. And I was going, okay, I'm going to be a musician. But then I started, earning a little bit of money from my music after playing for 3-4 years. And it wasn't that much, right? And then I was like, okay, you know what, this may be not a feasible solution. So then while I was doing my music, I started recording music videos for my music. And that's how I figured out, how to use the camera and stuff like that. So it was like a progression. One thing led to another, and also
it's crazy because I remember for me as well. I think music videos was a big part of it. I was watching this. I don't know if you remember Boys Avenue. They used to do covers and stuff. I was super obsessed, man, with like how they made those videos. And to be honest, like those videos are still epic, man. That was like 10 years ago.
I know. It's pretty.
So as a matter of fact, we should actually go back and figure out how they did it now, because I honestly I think they had like really good lighting and stuff like that, but I don't think they had like cinema cameras. I think
it's probably like random DSLR. They just knew what they were doing with lights, like they knew how to set up like this, like a nice set with proper practical lighting in the back, and nice soft light in the front. So that's how they probably did it, but I'm intrigued to. So that's what I want to do. I want to replicate that, right? But obviously, when you're learning and stuff, you come close to it, but it's not exactly there. So we're trying to pursue perfection, right?
Yeah, man, for sure. I think what's interesting about sort of videography is that it's an art, right? But it is one of the few arts that you can sort of commercialize relatively.
In this country, especially, it's like depends on what country you're in. But like in this country, videography and photography is a more feasible solution, right?
Yeah, much more so than I guess than any of the other arts. But I think like you said, like it depends on what country. Like I think some countries music would be emphasized, right? And then there would be an opportunity for you to sort of start an indie band or something like that, and still make like a decent wage doing that.
Yeah. Okay, so I've recently checked out your YouTube channel and like some of the videos that you were making in college, and they were pretty interesting, right? Even though like what were the roots there? Like, did you learn? Was it all learned through the University of YouTube? How to use the camera and stuff like that?
For sure, is the short answer. I think I learned everything I know on YouTube. I think there were some like complimentary books along the way that I think I read and stuff like that. But I think for the most part, I'm just increasing the brightness here on this camera because I just don't want you to complain after you get the footage. Tell me, what kind of videographer are you? This shot is half a stop underexposed. I learned a lot, pretty much everything I know on YouTube. I think along the way I found a couple of books and stuff that again the YouTube guys recommended, and I must have read like 25 maybe ish books on photography and video. But everything was just tutorials, man. Like it was just like one thing after one thing. Like it was a need-based thing. I think you told me something similar as well, and I didn't realize I did it this way until you told me that you had a similar approach, and then I realized maybe that's a thing. So YouTube learning is different to conventional learning, because conventional learning, it's about I think it's about establishing fundamental rules and a foundation and building rules and tools that you will use. Whereas YouTube learning, it's like a different approach, man. It's like there is a problem, how do you solve it? Like for now, right?
Yeah.
It's like a patch based approach, right? It's like
exactly.
You're trying to build something, like you're trying to build something now, okay, and you just like you don't know how to do this one specific thing, and you just go out and you do that one specific. You learn how to do that one specific thing, and you learn it and you come back, right? Which would never be true in anything else, right? Like for example, if you were learning to be an engineer, you're not gonna just go like make a car. Okay, that may be a bad example because there are people that do it, but you're not just gonna go out there and build a car and then like, oh, okay, the wheels don't work. What do I do next?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
What do I do
next? That's
next?
such a good point.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely true. I mean, automotive may be a really bad example of that. But for example, if you were in medicine, okay, better example, and you're not just gonna go out there and like try stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know, if you were in testing or if you were in analytics or if you were a business analyst, you don't really get the option to do those things, right? Yeah. So I think it's true of like a few things. Entrepreneurship is another one as well. Like that's something that I've also fallen in love with. I think it feeds into all of the things I do. So I try not to talk about entrepreneurship as like one of the things I do. Right. So entrepreneurship is also similar because like it's the same approach. Like you start this thing, you know bits and pieces of it, and like if something goes wrong, you just go and like read and reference like what people before you did. Yeah. Just try to patch it together. So it's also like a patchwise a craft. Right.
But that's a very interesting point. I never really thought about it like that. But yeah, it's like YouTube learning. The university of YouTube is just like patchwork. And then you actually, I think that's the problem we have with most of our school education system. Like they just stick to a syllabus and don't exactly tell you how to solve problems. And it's a huge trend. Everybody's complaining about these things. But I think you made a very, very good analogy there.
Yeah, so, I've been sort of complaining about sort of the, I guess like the system of education. I think there's like an educational system, and I have a lot of complaints about that. But also, man, I don't have like a hard solution. I feel
exactly. I feel like that's the thing that I've never spoken about is because I don't know what I mean. Okay, I can complain about it, but what can I give as a solution? I have no idea how to fix that, so I don't really get into topics like that. But that's interesting.
Yeah.
So you came back. And then you started, working here. At what point did you realize that? Because there has to be this one point where, I'm going to throw in the towel and just, make my own production company. Like, at what point did that come to you? Because I'm still struggling with that. I have a day job, and it's at the same time, I have a freelance career. But I want to go all into my freelance and, the production company. But there's that fear, How did that come around? Like, what made you make the decision?
Yeah, that's a really hard decision to make, man. It's like probably one of the hardest and first truly autonomous decisions I had to make. Like it was a decision that I had to make for myself with little to no influence. Like literally no one to this day can tell me, okay, this is the right time to do it. Like no one can encourage you. And even if they do encourage you, it means nothing because they probably don't know the whole situation, right? There's a lot of facts and things that factor into it, and trying to figure out like what is the right time to make that leap. Things get really difficult, man, when things on the other side are not miserable, right? I mean, if things are horrible, you just want on the other side, whatever your other side is, you just want to make this work. And as long as you can get like some reasonable paycheck coming in every day, you're fine. Like that's the point you switch, right? But when things aren't miserable on the other side and things are okay, then it's a question of where is your true passion and strategy, right? Like the big question is the Sri Lankan market is, or at least like the corporate market, right? It's structured. It's like a reverse curve, right? It's like super flat at the start, like you make no money,
right?
And progressively, you make more money. Just one sec, I'm making you an intro.
Yeah, because The recording.
So you hit yours as well?
Yeah, I did.
Nice. Okay. I thought isn't it supposed to make a clip like a new clip?
No, so it cuts off. I think cameras have like a 30-minute record limit.
No, but one of the key selling points of this camera is that it makes a new clip on its own. Like,
really?
It's supposed to go. Yeah,
My one is not auto. I have to manually restart the damn thing.
But I think it's also the card, because I think this is actually not a clip problem. I think this is it's hit the 4GB cap.
Right. Yeah, okay.
I need to look into that, because like it's kind of a big deal, man.
Yeah. Especially in a situation like this where you're making at least like a 1 hour long video, right?
Yeah. I don't know how long we've been going for. I wish I could check that. But it's probably it's probably that. Anyway, just backing up a little bit because I don't know where that cut. I think the Sri Lankan corporate economy is it's really flat, right? It's initially really flat, and then allegedly this is based on like the people I know, it spikes upwards. Which means that you make little to no money for like the first 10 years. Okay, not 10 years. First 5 to 6 years of your career, and then you start making some money, and then you start making a lot of money.
Right.
At least, I mean, if you're an achiever, I guess. If you're not an achiever, then you're probably not going to make any money. But that's true in any field, right? So if you are an achiever, it's like really flat, and then it spikes allegedly. So here's the problem, right? You may run into a situation where you start making more money than your day job relatively quickly. But the question to ask yourself is, first of all, is that a true indicator of financial prosperity for the future? Right. Because if the progression is relatively flat, then it's not, right? Because in the future you'll be making a lot more money, and the differential will be really large. Like you'll be making a lot more money in the corporate world. So financial independence is one thing. The other part is it's a passion type thing, right? Like you have to figure out, is this a passion? Like is this your passion / your destiny? Or is this like something you're just like really interested in right now? Which is like my thing, right? I get like really interested in random things, man, like healthy eating or gymming, or like I don't know, man. Like I get like super interested in like these very like starting my own Netflix show. Like it's just like really specific, man, and I get like aggressively passionate about it. And I go into this like coma for like a couple of days where I just like already have my own Netflix show. You know, like, I go from like this idea of like I would love to have a Netflix show. 3 days later, I have a Netflix show. Okay, who's gonna sponsor this? Like it's just absurd, right? Like so you have to before you go like really deep. Sorry, that's my doorbell. Before you get really deep into things, you have to kind of like map that out, right? So all of that is the dynamics of it. But how do you make that final decision? I don't know, man. I think it's like I came to a point where I was like, I have a 4-year window. In this 4-year window, I can do whatever I want as long as I can pay my bills, which is not much. And the objective of this 4-year window is to just be like irrationally bold with things, like just shoot all over the place and then try and hit something. Ideally, you're shooting at things that you really care about. So I have pretty much stopped entirely doing anything I don't care about. So politics is something that I knew I needed to learn because it affects like the dynamics of everything. But it was just sinking too much time, so I entirely dropped it. Like I'm not involved with it, nor do I know anything about politics. And I'm not saying this is the right way to do it for anyone, but I'm saying like, we have a finite amount of time and we have this 4-year gap where we're just going to go all in on things, right? And those things can be your thing, whatever those things are. So that was my approach, man. So I was like, I'm really passionate about video. I think I'm above average at it, and I think if I spend a lot of time doing it, I can be pretty good. And if I am pretty good, then I can build a company around it. If I can build a company around it, then I can build financial independence, and I can work on something that I'm really passionate about day to day.
I mean, what's the most taxing part of creating a production house, or like what takes most of your energy out of you?
Man, that's a hard question, because I don't think it's any one thing, to be honest. Or at least I can't think of one thing off the top of my head saying, look, this is the problem. I think the thing about starting your own business where it's different to being no, I wouldn't say that's true. So I think the what's special about starting your own business is every day you wear a different hat, right? So some days you're like this like financial manager and you're like managing the finance. Some days you're a videographer. Some days you're an editor. Some days you're leading strategy for the company. But that's one side of things, right? The other days you're like chief garbage collector. You're like chief mopper. Like, you are paying you're paying salaries out of cash that you don't have. You're making investments. This is crazy. Right? You're making investments in things you personally don't like or feel you need to make it because that is what the company's collective feels like you need to make. Right? And which is crazy because I know that there will be a day where I am aggressively passionate about, let's say, buying a Panasonic camera. And the company is like, nope, we're going to go Sony. Like per our views, it's going to be Sony. And when that day comes, I am going to go Sony. Like it doesn't matter because it's a collective, right? Like, and the collective also strength. It's your biggest strength and also a weakness for you, right? Or not a weakness, but it's a burden that you have to be willing to take in order for the strength of a team to reinforce your values. You use a team to reinforce your values, but then you also have to be able to put them on your shoulder and them being an extension of yourself. So yeah, I guess like the biggest, I guess the challenges around like launching a production company is like all of the different elements, man. There's so many moving parts and like because there's so many moving parts, you almost don't get to spend enough time on anything, any one thing. I read this Gary Vaynerchuk quote. I was like super into Gary Vaynerchuk about 6 months ago. I was like really in love with this dude. And recently not so much, but I don't know, maybe that's just because I've moved moved my career and stuff like that. But either way, he has a lot of good things to say. And he had this quote, man. It said, and I'm going to paraphrase this quote again because I can't remember it exactly, but it was something along the lines of better to be complete than to be perfect, right? And I think in entrepreneurship that is so true, man. Like you end up putting things out that are 80% of what it could be. And that's like heartbreaking, man, especially when it's something you're like super passionate about. You know, if you spend 3 more, you're like, you tell yourself, okay, if I spend 3 more hours, it can be like 10% more better. Okay, but whether that's true or not, you just don't have 3 hours to spend. So what about you? You currently are balancing a day job with some freelance.
So you were talking about being passionate, right? Like the thing is right now, I really love my day job and I really love doing freelance, right? Because my day job also is revolving around the music industry. So I work for a music management company, American company, and I love the company. I love the people in it because they've created a sort of a freelance environment in there. You come in, it's not a corporate atmosphere. You come in, you are in charge of the work you do. You can allocate time slots at any amount, any part of the day. So I love that, and that's why I'm still trying to balance the two as opposed to going in one direction, because I love making videos. I love doing freelance work because it's the most exciting thing that I've done consistently. Like for the past years, music has been there for the past 6-7 years, but this also has been consistently exciting for the past 4 years, right? And I've been doing it, and also there is a return on investment financially as well, which makes things a lot more feasible, right? Because obviously at the end of the day, you have to be a little realistic, and that's where I am at. Which is why I don't want to just go gung ho onto my freelancing, because I am also enjoying the other part as well.
And I think sort of in your line of work, there's sort of a lot of like cross.
Exactly. And the fact that I work with YouTube and I have an understanding of how the back end of YouTube works, and I'm also interested in making YouTube videos. So it's really difficult for me to pick and choose, but I do, and that's what stood out for me when you said, okay, once you become passionate about something, you realize that, okay, if you're doing something for a long time, you're doing it because you're passionate about it, right? And that's one of the biggest things that's making me making my decision a lot more difficult. I don't know if I'm making sense, but
No. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a difficult decision. It is a difficult decision to make,
Yeah.
even if your, I guess like even if your day job is really like
Yeah.
shit, it's still probably really difficult to make that decision, right? What about in terms of ad revenue? If you can talk about that, like how does that break down, man? Like I think that's what everyone wants to know. Like what is the dollar per click? And I know you said it's not that straightforward, right? It's not a flat
It's
number.
not very straightforward in the sense like, okay, if you want to talk about YouTube ad revenue and AdSense, but the thing you need to understand is that not every view you get is monetized, or you don't get paid for every view that you get. Most of the time, if you have 100,000 views, it's very likely that you're only gonna get paid for 50 to 60% of those views. The reason I'm saying that is that the revenue model for YouTube is the advertisements. That's how the YouTube makes money, right? So if you've noticed on YouTube, not every video has an ad playing on it. Sometimes it plays, sometimes it doesn't, and it depends on which country you are in. For example, if you're in Sri Lanka, you have Dialog, you have Mobitel, all these companies that are paying to put the adverts, right? But it's a handful of companies, so the competition per view or the price per view is a lot less. So if you're a channel,
so is it essentially the country of origin of the content, or is it based on the demographic of watchers?
Of the viewers, if I watch a video in Sri Lanka, it's a lot, the content creator gets a lot less as opposed to if I watched it in the US. So for example, in Asia, if you get 1,000 views in Asia, it's around 50 cents to 20 cents to 50 cents for those 1,000 views, right?
Okay.
But if those 1,000 views came from the US, it's around $5.
Okay, seriously?
So that's a huge difference. It's around $4 to $5. That's basic. I mean, that's like a basic idea of how your viewership matters, like the demographic.
Okay, so I guess like my question to you would be, if you were like a Sri Lankan content creator, you'd probably want to target your content at high sort of dollar
Exactly.
per click
Exactly.
content.
So if you are getting a lot of musicians like Bhati Santosh and all these high rolling artists in Sri Lanka that have a big YouTube presence, they are getting about 20 to 25% views from Australia and from the Middle East, right?
Right.
So for them, those views make a lot more money than the views that they're getting in Sri Lanka. So that's where most of their money is made, like in those countries where people. That's why Australia is such a popular tour destination for most Sri Lankan artists, because they have there's a huge Sri Lankan community there that watches their videos.
Man, that's so strange to me. Okay, I mean it makes sense. No, not the Australian demographic, but like it's more like the fact that the dollar per view number is so skewed. But I mean, I get it, because there's probably not that many like advertisers on YouTube, because the thing is, man, like here it's the big companies that do it. Like it's only the big companies that even know how to do it, right? Like if you were like Mobitel or something, you know how to place an ad on YouTube. But in the US, it's different, because like if you like live in like a small town or something, basically like the bakery down the road, they will put up proprietary, like not proprietary, but they will put their content on that, man, which is crazy. Like you hear, like you see these ads that are really specific, like like the bar down the road is going to be like, this Thursday night we're gonna go half off on margaritas or something like that, right? So that content piece is built for this Thursday night, and it's built for your region. So there's that much advertising and content. So I guess that makes sense, because we, like as Sri Lankans, we don't come from a market that the context of our marketing is not that, right?
Exactly.
We don't market like that.
We are still in the
marketing.
I mean, we are transitioning, but we're still in the radio and TV era. Because millions of rupees are spent on TV and radio adverts, but not that much is spent on social media ads, but it's shifting. Like right now, more and more companies, like you see, like because the CPM or the cost per view cost per milli is increasing in Asian regions because companies are now switching over to social media advertising. And the thing is, you can target it. Like you can decide when you're advertising, if you're putting on a newspaper, everybody sees it. But when you're advertising on social media, you can target the age. I want only 18-year-olds to 25-year-olds to be seeing my ad. I want only men to see my ad. I want only women to see my ad. So you can target. That's why it's a lot more versatile. And also in our economies, our society's purchasing power is not as high as the US.
For sure.
So that's why a lot of companies still don't want to advertise in our country, especially sites like Skillshare, right? Skillshare, all these stock footage companies, they're online, so they should also market, like run a lot of ads for our regions as well. But the problem is they don't do it as aggressively. Is because we can't afford to pay $10 a month, a majority of us. So because our purchasing power is not that high. Because when we start paying in dollars, our minimum wage is in average, it's not on par with like those companies. So they run a few ads in these regions. But then like companies like, okay, if you are like a soda company in the US, then there's no point running your ads here. Then it's only predominantly in the US. So there's a huge advertising and marketing stick to it as well.
For sure. How about YouTube for you, man? Like I have been trying to get on YouTube for a good 3 years or something like that. And I don't know, for me it's like this perfection trap where I've been trying to make stuff and haven't really started. Essentially a lot of excuses. But you have been doing YouTube pretty fairly consistently, would you say? For like a year? For I think consistently with quality, I think I've been doing it for about a year and a half. The reason I got onto YouTube is because I'm a musician. We're very as a musician, some of the characteristics that I see is that we're very self-absorbed. I need to make something and put it online and grab a lot of people's attention. So that's where the YouTube thing started. I think that I can make some cool stuff, and I want a lot of people to watch it, right? So that's why I wanted to start like making a YouTube channel and getting people to see it and basically attention whoring. So that's where it started. But what happened with that is that became like my portfolio, right? My content on YouTube was getting better and better, and whenever I had like a client or somebody coming and asking me or what can you do and stuff, I just send them some videos or clips of some of my YouTube channels YouTube videos where I put in a lot of effort. Really?
Especially sometimes, most of the time I do a lot of Instagram advertising of my stuff, of post, and that's where I get maybe like 10 to 20% of some of the freelance work that I do. All the production houses that have contacted me is through ads that I've run on Instagram, right? So they see the work and then they ask me, okay, can you show me some of your work? And then I send them my YouTube channel, right? So that my portfolio has become like a side effect of me trying to pursue YouTube. So now that's what I do. That's why I concentrate on quality on my YouTube channel, because I can use it as a portfolio for people like you. So for example, if you want to, initially when you want to do a lot of, you wanted to work with me and stuff, I'm pretty sure I sent you some of my YouTube videos, right?
I think you did.
So that gives you an idea as to what's important to me as a videographer, and what do I focus on and stuff like that. So that's how YouTube came up to me, and now it's like actually a tool that everybody uses to showcase their work, right?
That's the thing, man. Like I'm also trying to figure out what the right strategy is. So before the end of the year, in theory, I would have like some sort of YouTube presence. At least that's the idea, right? And I've been trying to figure out like what makes sense. Should it be like a clear media production page, or should it be like a personal page? And regardless of if it's this or that, the question is like, what are you trying to do? Like, are you trying to drive to add revenue and make it like a secondary source? Are you trying to be influencer? Because there's something to be said to that, right?
Definitely.
Are you trying to what are you trying to do? Is it like a portfolio, just like you mentioned, right? And I think you can't achieve all of those objectives. Like you can only achieve one of those. Those are mutually exclusive objects. I think there's some follower, but like, so examples, like I think so Joshua from Make Art now,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
like
yeah.
my favorite YouTuber, right? And you know this. But he doesn't have that many videos. I think he only has 20 videos,
Yeah.
something like that. It's like very little.
Yeah.
Part of the problem is that he doesn't have that many subscribers as well.
Right.
Or that many viewers and stuff like that. It's a very like cult following of like videographers, very specifically
Yeah.
that follow him.
Yeah.
And the reason being that he hyper emphasizes on quality of work.
That's true.
Because for him it's like it's a good way to showcase his work. Like he actually says to brands and stuff, if he wants to show something, he's like, go check out my YouTube.
Right.
That's like a demonstration of my work.
Right.
And he will literally use that, man, which is like crazy to me. Because like I would much rather send this like clip that I have done for someone else to him to the new client. But I guess the problem is this is the assumption that as you move up in projects, like as projects get bigger and bigger, you can't share those. Like
Right.
physically, like
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
because
yeah.
I think because I'm running into that issue slightly now, where like companies are like, no, don't even tell anyone that you did this for us. Like the new brands that we're shooting for the big commercials this year, no one will even know it's done by Clear Media Production, right? And for that reason, Clear doesn't have anything to show for itself.
That's
Like,
true.
Even in a sharing context, so like we can't even like just show one-to-one a video. So maybe that's why they
Yeah, that's literally one of the biggest problems. Like, because I've been doing freelance work for almost like 3.5-4 years, but I've always signed a non-disclosure, right? Like, which means that I can't ever post anything saying that, okay, you know what, I did this, I did that. But I have the, like, personally I can show, this, because I have the, hey Sachin, I have like when I meet a client or something, I have the raw files and I can show them, this is the work that I did, this is the stuff that I, but I can never like use it as a portfolio, which is like and I know where you're coming from, which puts a lot of hindrance as a freelancer as well, because you have to show people what you can do or what you've done, right? Like, I think that's something that I haven't figured out how to put, because some people do. Some people that are really veterans in the situation, once they make a name for themselves, they can demand that, saying, you know what, I'm not going to sign a non-disclosure, but then I guess you have to work towards that, right? Like you have to make a name for yourself.
Yeah, maybe you have to work to it. But like the thing is, like it looks like even players like Joshua are having problems with that.
Right.
That's kind of why they do it. And I think that's why certain clients let them showcase certain bits and pieces of their work.
Right.
So like Joshua shows that like house and stuff. Like once he talks about like this $1 million house.
Right.
Yeah. He shows like bits and pieces of it. But even that, not like he never shows the whole video, man. Like sorry, my battery is low. He never shows the whole video, which is like a shame, because he tells you how to do all of these things and then he never shows you what the final outcome is. He'll show you like a clip or two in isolation, but you never get to see the ending. And it's crazy because if you go on Joshua's website, okay, and you want to like hire him, you can't even look at his content, which is crazy. Man. Like if you go to work, it just directs you to YouTube.
Right.
So I'm assuming if you reach out to him one-to-one, he will share some of his work.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I don't know how that works.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like when they publish stuff, obviously, like in emails and stuff, I send them links saying, okay, you know what, I was part of this production, or I edited this and that, so that when we meet one-to-one, I can prove it with the project files and all of like that. So that's the only way I can do it right now. When somebody comes and
but I think as projects become bigger and bigger, you can't even do that, right? Like, so strictly legally speaking.
If there's legal stipulation that says, or like, if it says in a contract that you can't even like tell that to anybody personally, then you're screwed. Like then there's no way you can.
Which I'm sure is how it's going down. Like so now I think this year we landed our first like really big commercial, and for that, like we can't talk about it. Like it's even within our teams, it's only like us. Like not everyone has disclosure to like what they're doing and stuff like that on that.
Yeah.
So I think.
Do you want to check the recording on your camera just really quick?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
I just checked. I'm at 28. What are you on?
I just restarted it again. So our entire conversation has been going on for 58 minutes, which is good. I didn't feel the time going by.
It was good, man. Maybe we can make this like a weekly thing or something.
Yeah,
like,
we should.
Make it like slightly rougher cuts, maybe. And I know you're not comfortable with the idea of like something that's not perfectly cut, perfect audio.
Yeah, I mean, I can get used to it because there's a lot of good conversations.
Yeah.
See, even you've been telling me about the audio thing, it restricts me from making content. So I paid a lot less attention to the whole audio quality, because like you told me, and you realize that I've uploaded quite a few videos over the past couple of weeks, right? And that's because I've reduced that technical barrier for me just to create stuff.
Man, but even like, see, this is the thing. Okay, wait, hold on. I'm gonna pause this. Okay, this is on like a conversation on perfection. I just want to see like this. My camera is about to hit like it's 29 seconds. I don't know if you can see this. I just want to see if it'll actually run to the 30-second.
Okay.
30-second. Do you think it's gonna go over, or do you think it's gonna cut here, man? This is like the big test. Here we go. Oh, it is a 30-second.
Yeah, that's 30-second. Only the cinema cameras can keep going, man. Like the C200s, the C200s, the C100s.
Yeah, no. So that's a tax-based problem, Maran. So if you are like a video camera, you get taxed more, so the price goes up. Like you get price per part goes up.
Right.
So that's why they keep it under the 30-minute clip. But I know, man, that on these cameras, you are supposed to it's supposed to roll over. At least I know it. I know for a fact that I've seen it before. I've seen it roll over before, because I know I've looked at clips on.
Instagram. You know what? We're hitting 1 hour on Instagram.
Are you serious? How do you know?
Because it's telling me I have 18. Instagram only allows you to live stream for 1 hour at a time. So let me restart this. Because I have 10 seconds left.
That?
Yeah. I have 10
okay,
seconds
all right,
left.
Go ahead.
This is this is like a learning thing, man. I have like a live going on. I'm trying to record podcast. This is pretty interesting stuff.
So I'll tell you. So I did the hatch video, right? That was a disaster, though. I'll tell you all about it. Where do you believe things?
I completely lost my train of thought.
Yeah, no. You were talking about perfection, man. I really want to talk about this, okay? Because So there's this thing, right? It goes when it comes to making stuff, like anything beyond video, just any sort of content.
Yeah.
The spectrum goes from making a video that's perfect to making a video that's just terrible, right? That's the spectrum, right? Yeah. And let's assume that the more time you spend, the better it gets. But there is definitely like that diminishing returns thing.
Right. Yeah.
And I think we both know that there's diminishing returns. Like I don't think I think we both are acutely aware that after a point, you spending more time on it doesn't make it like proportionately better. Yeah. Right? Which is why we eventually stop. Like we stop at like that 95% point. After 95%, we're like, okay, if I spend another 3 days on this, I can get it like 2% better, 3% better. If I spend another 3 days on it. That's where we stop. But I think that's too late.
Right.
Like for example, if you stopped at 90%, you would have basically saved 3 more days. Right? Everything goes. That's a spectrum. Right? It goes from things are perfect, things are shit, and progressively as you spend more time on it, it gets better. But there is a diminishing return, right? Eventually, you can't it doesn't matter how much time you spend, you'll never hit that 100%, right? Yeah. Sorry, it's a bit loud here.
That's okay. That's okay.
A lot of things happening over here. So I think we both know that there's a point of diminishing returns, and we do stop, but we stop at that 95% point. Yeah. Basically, you have to work on it for another whole day to get 1% more. Right. And I think that is too late, right? I think we need to stop at like 85%. Or I mean, for YouTube, it might even be less than that. Like if you're going to like the Casey Neistat world, then it's like 60%. He is stopping at 65. Right. He's like, it's good. Like it tells enough of a story because it's a quality and quantity approach, right? Yeah. So like at the end of the day, if you have like one perfect video on YouTube, doesn't matter, because no one is going to subscribe to that channel, no one is going to follow you. And no one is going to see, like, no one is going to recognize you for your work, right? Right. Whereas if you had like a million videos that were just like horribly edited, that doesn't matter also, right? So you need to find that break-even point. I haven't started my YouTube because of this problem. Like, this is the inherent problem. This is why, if you check out my Instagram, I haven't posted on that in like 7 months or something, dude. It's like crazy. Yeah. Because of this problem, man. Because of like
perfection issue.
Yeah, perfection issue. And like I'm not trying to go like the other extreme. So when I'm launching this YouTube, I'm not taking the Josh Show approach. Because I feel like if I try that, I will go too far and it'll take me too long to do it, right? So each video will take like a month to do, man. So that's not happening. What we're gonna do is try to make a video every 2 weeks, one video every 2 weeks. And it's gonna be like really like not great. It's gonna be like the potato jet approach. Have you seen?
Yeah, exactly, dude. Potato jet is pretty amazing. I love potato jet.
Yeah. And that is like I think the perfect breaking point between content that's good and content that's that is tangible, that you can take something practical away from, and that you can create relatively fast. So as of the curfew lift, I'm gonna try and do that. I'm gonna focus, like similar to your approach. I'm gonna take like do the tutorials and stuff like that.
We need to. The thing is, I was thinking about, we have so many like stuff that we're discussing right now that a lot of people are trying to achieve. Like a lot of people are trying to get into the freelancing, and we have so many topics that we can talk about. And I think like once this whole curfew is done, let's make this a weekly podcast where we are in the same place so that I can control the audio.
True. Yeah,
I can control the cameras and stuff.
That's true.
I know we discussed about so many things. Thanks a lot for coming online, man. This is definitely something.
I'm glad we did this. Like, we actually got down to business.
The biggest problem in our industry, especially, is to find like-minded people who are willing to make the appropriate sacrifices. You don't have to make a lot of sacrifice, but you have to make like the appropriate ones. So I'm glad that we're doing this. Huge shout out to Charlie, I think, for connecting the two of us.
I didn't even should have sent him a message saying this is happening. But it's just so spontaneous, man. It just happened like last night, right? I didn't tell him. Okay, that's the other thing, man. We should probably spend a little bit more time like marketing this.
That's what I'm so bad at. Which is why I love, working with guys like you, and then just going and working for product. Because I studied marketing. I have a bachelor's in marketing. But I hate doing I know what to do, but I hate following the steps. It's like I'm a spontaneous guy. Like even with, this goes out to all of my aspects, even in relationships and stuff. I'm like, okay, let's go like drive 8 hours somewhere like in an hour. Yeah. No planning at whatsoever. Just go get on a car. We should do that. We should do you and I, we need to go on a road trip around the country. And because I did one, but I did one with my friends, which is fine, and it was awesome. I enjoyed it. When you go around,
you get the content
with somebody who wants to create content with you, then you get to spend more time. You're not guilty. Yeah. We need to do that, because I did a video. I drove around the coast in 40 hours. It was a weekend. Yeah. I started
the whole thing,
the entire coast to Sri Lanka.
No way.
Yeah. I'll send you the video.
Oh my gosh. Who drove?
So I had two other drivers with me. So we started Friday night, came back home. I think Sunday at around 4:00. I think we just driving non-stop.
We gotta do something like that, man. We've got to do like maybe, I don't know. That's ideas, but we gotta just start moving. I think. I think that's the biggest thing. Yeah. Now we have free time, but like while we have time, it'll be great to move and stuff.
Anyways, thanks a lot for everybody who came online. People are joining in and out here and there. So appreciate the presence. So we'll end this. You can follow obviously Karvin at his personal account, Karvin Fernando, and then you can also have Clear Media or Clear SL, right?
Clear Media Production now. Actually.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so you can actually go to my page, and then it's in the bio and stuff. Awesome. That's actually where I put like content semi-regularly. I don't put any content on my personal page. So
right. And the full version is gonna come out on both of our socials, either my YouTube, definitely my YouTube and Facebook, and then Karvin as well. So the people who couldn't stick around, because I know tuning into live sessions for like an hour is actually a hassle. You just come in for like 5 seconds and then you go off. And
it's pretty much.
So this is going online.
It's learning for all of us.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll make it a little bit more focused the next time. Next week again. Same time, dude. You can start working on the marketing.
You shouldn't have made that promise then. You made it on live, now it's going to have to happen. Okay, alright. Anyway,
cool, man.
Alright, man. I'll catch you soon.
Yeah, speak to you soon.
Good connecting.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.